In today's world, there's a lot of competition because the tools are easy to use and there's a lot of good AI tools out there. Well, in the midst of that, you've got to find out how do you stand out as imminent in the market. Well, there's a book out that I saw just a little while ago, and I knew I had to share this with you because we talk about AI all the time here. This is going to give you a chance to take that AI and use it to get the imminence that you need. And the book is called Market Eminence: 22 Strategies to Build a Personal Brand, to Become a Business Celebrity, and to Drive Unstoppable Growth. It's written by certified speaking professional, CSP, David Newman. David is a friend of mine, and he is an incredibly brilliant marketer and businessman, and a nice guy too. You're going to see that in the video. And what he talks about is several ways you can use those concepts to help you build your business and be the personal branding expert yourself out there. The thing I love about the book, it is so incredibly easy to read. He kept it really short. It's a different kind of book than I've read. I read the thing twice, and already I've got several gems out of it. So this is one you want to see. David Newman talking about market eminence here on Stark Raving Entrepreneurs. You know, in today's world, it's important that you stand out in a prominent, favorable way. And one of the best ways to do that for your marketing and for branding is to make sure that you have eminence in the marketplace that you've chosen. That means that what you're going to do is you're going to do several things that are right and some things that maybe you hadn't thought of. Well, I just read a book recently, a great book called Market Eminence, and it's written by my friend David Newman. David Newman is a guy that really knows about the marketing area, and I've talked with him before. He's been on our channel before, and I just had to have him come back and tell us about this new book. David, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for writing that book. Really good piece of information for us.
Terry, it is a pleasure and a privilege to be back with you.
Well, I want to get into the details of this, and particularly want to talk about an area where I looked at it, and at first brush, I thought, I don't know if I agree with that. And then I started thinking about it, and let's talk about that a little bit later. But right now, tell me a little bit about market eminence, what you mean by that, and what the book is all about.
Sure. So the problem that we're setting out to solve, the problem I'm setting out to solve with the book is, what does it take to get you, your product, your service, your company noticed in a very noisy world? And I broke it down into 3 components: visibility and respect and brand preference. Now, very quickly, visibility is simply being seen by the right people for the right reasons. Respect is about resonating with that audience because you know them so well. You know their pains, problems, heartaches, headaches, goals, dreams, hopes, aspirations, and you're conveying through that the fact that you get me. You understand what I'm going through. You know what I'm up against. The third component, brand preference, that is a combination of differentiation and positioning so that it becomes risky, dangerous, and dumb to hire anyone other than you. Those 3 taken together is my recipe and my formula I call market eminence.
I like that. I think that's good. It's the combination, like so many things, the magic is in the mix. And it's in the combination of all those in the right way. Well, one of the things you talk about in the book, matter of fact, here, let me just share my screen with you and with the leaders here. And I think you said, it was really good that at first I wondered about this, where you said you want to define your contrarian slant.
Yes.
And you say, from reading the book here on page 55, what industry truth, I like the way you put that in quotes, do most people accept that you disagree with?
Yeah.
What approach do you take that goes against common practice? And what problem do you solve in a way others don't, can't, or are afraid to? Tell us a little bit more about that, because to me, that is just real golden information.
Yes. Well, I think the common mistake that a lot of us make in marketing, sales, lead generation is, let's cast a wide a net as possible. And I'm not a fisherman, but I'm imagining that when you cast a wide net, this is where you get the car tires. This is where you get the old rusty bumpers caught in your fish net. Imagine if you could go to the exact right spot in the ocean or in a lake, and you've got the right bait and the right boat and the right, all the right conditions just to catch the exact fish that you are looking to catch. So what does that mean? That means that we need to powerfully attract exactly the right fish. And we need to powerfully repel or push away all those rusty car bumpers and old tires and rusty crab traps and all the other junk and gunk that gets into our net. So by defining a contrarian stance, this is not something that you put on. This is not a PR gimmick. This is not a publicity stunt. This is uncovering what you already believe that is either hurting your prospects, hurting the industry. It's an outdated practice. It is a half-truth or a myth in the industry that you see a different way, you see a better way, you practice a different methodology because you're trying to improve the industry, you're trying to improve your customer and client outcomes, and you are trying to be more ethical and more in alignment with your values. Now that's a big tall order, right? So I'll boil this down to what I call the elephant in the room question. The elephant in the room question, and some of the prompts are more detailed in the book, obviously, but think about what harsh truth about your industry are clients desperate for someone to finally acknowledge openly? That everyone kind of knows this is kind of the dirty secret. This is like crazy Aunt Ethel who you've got trapped up in the attic. You can tell people there's no crazy Aunt Ethel up in the attic, but she's up there singing, she's banging her broom on the walls. My friends, she's up there. And the person that is willing to openly admit what is missing, funky, broken, and sad in your industry that no longer helps customers, no longer serves clients, and is an outdated, harmful, or at best anachronistic belief, that person is going to immediately elevate themselves head and shoulders above the pack. So we need a series of these beliefs and statements, all of which make up your contrarian point of view.
Yeah, I like that. It makes sense. So you're doing it in a way that's not antagonistic, not
Correct.
argumentative per se. And I was perceiving it that way. And I think some people could perceive it initially that way until they hear what you're talking about. And what you're saying really makes eminent sense that this is really what we've got to do, how we need to look at it. Well, another thing you talk about, this kind of ties into that somewhat, is when we look at the "we reject" statement. This over on page 82. I love this, David, the way you said it. Say, if you find your opposition, identify one industry practice you refuse to accept. Example, we reject the idea that consulting must be complicated and expensive. And the last sentence you put here, to complete this, we reject blank, which is why we do blank instead. Tell me a little bit about that more and how we can do that without coming across as very negative.
Sure. So imagine that we're a law firm and we're doing some law firm marketing, which stay awake, folks, stay awake. Don't go to sleep quite yet. But most law firms, about 90%, maybe even more, are still tied to hourly billing. So think about hourly billing as a practice that most people hate, right? It's like, oh my God, it's $800 an hour. A Xerox copy costs $6. It's like, what is going on? I am being raked over the coals by my law firm. One law firm, mythical, one law firm comes on the scene and says, we reject hourly billing because our philosophy is that we want to get you the most positive outcome, and we are all about results. We are much more committed to getting you to your destination than we are in running the taximeter. So imagine if their tagline was something like no hourly fees, right? So fixed fees, no surprises, just results. Every other law firm is going to be losing their minds going, oh my God, they called out the elephant in the room. It's like, yes, everyone hates hourly billing. Why? Because we are rewarding these law firms and these lawsuits to, the longer it takes to get a good judgment in your favor, the more money they make. Well, if you and I are the client of the law firm, wouldn't it be the case that the shorter the process, the greater the value? We don't want this to go on for months and months and years. We would like this to be resolved in weeks and months, maybe. So think about, and I also wanted you to think about this from the law firm's perspective. Why are lawyers in law firms, why are the partners, why are the associates working 100, 120-hour weeks? Because of hourly billing. Imagine if we disconnected their revenue generation potential from the hours on the clock. What if there was a law firm that says, folks, we get this done in 40 hours a week? Imagine the talent that would want to come work for that law firm. Imagine the investment. Imagine the media coverage of here's the one law firm in Cincinnati that rejects hourly billing, and here's why. And so that kind of industry practice, and I think the example in the book that you showed was, consulting is complicated and expensive. What if consulting was simple and affordable, and you could get the professional business advice that you needed that was simple and affordable? So whatever industry practice is very commonplace in your field, is there an aspect of it that you could poke a hole in, go against, and start to build a value proposition so that you have a better, smarter way that serves your industry, serves your ultimate customers in a way that competitors would lose their minds? They would lose their minds because you were the first one there, and it is tough to be in a Me Too position when there's a trailblazer already ahead of you.
David, I love the way you say that. I've talked about that for many years, the idea of when you go out and buy a car. Let's say you were in the market for a car. You
Yes.
know the kind of model you want. You know it needs to have this many horsepower, or you're going to use it for this function or that function. You really don't care how long it took the manufacturer to make that. If they took 3 years to make that one car, well, okay. What
Yeah.
matters to me is, does it do the things I want? Is the price right? Is it in good shape? Do you have good follow-up service and things? There'd be a number of questions we have. And so I
Yeah.
think what you're saying there really makes eminent sense. And we look
Yes.
at those things that are important to the people and how they're going to react to it. That relates to another thing you said in the book I think was very good here, where you talked about some of the results that we are getting and when we get it, being able to create the tools, templates, and frameworks that people can use immediately. Making
Yes.
that available, offering insights and guidance that get results even before the prospects commit to working with you to
Yes.
solve a small problem completely rather than a big problem partially. These are
Yeah.
great ways to start giving some results to people and let them see, okay, this is what we're going to get when we work with them. Tell me a little bit more about that and how that leads to market imminence.
Yeah. So that section is from the section about generosity and
Yes.
gifts as far as market eminence is concerned. The way I like to describe this to my audiences is this is Happy Meal marketing. So your clients that buy from you, they get a beautiful 7-course meal. Terry, they get the white tablecloths, they get the 5 different kinds of wine glasses, they get that, the 5 different kinds of forks and knives. I'm not sure what that little knife is with the notch in it. Is that a butter knife? Is that a fish knife? What is that? It's a fish knife, my friends. Don't use that on the butter. But that's what they get. They get a beautiful, amazing 7-course meal. People who just encounter your marketing do not buy anything, no money changes hands. They still need to get a Happy Meal. So is your marketing too good to throw out? Are your emails too valuable to delete? Are the mailings that you send out, if you still send out mailings, are those mailings things that people want to keep, pass along to their boss, or post up on their office wall? Because if they're not, then you're just wasting time, wasting bandwidth. There's nothing valuable in what you're saying until people buy from you. So obviously, everyone listening, once people buy from you, once there's a transaction going on, you are amazing, you are fantastic, you are brilliant at the work you are doing. Imagine if we move just a little segment of that work, instead of after the credit card clears or the check clears, move that to before. Move that to before the credit card and before the check, and put the post-sale value into pre-sale value, because the pre-sale value is what people make a buying decision about. Everyone else is hoarding, right? Everyone else is hoarding their stuff. Oh, Terry, that's my good stuff. I can't give that away. Oh my gosh, Terry, I can't do that. That's why we get the big bucks. All of those statements are self-serving and somewhat delusional. So rather than self-serving, it should be client-serving. It should be prospect-serving. It should be community-serving. You need to be radically helpful and radically generous before any money changes hands. You start getting into that habit, and again, you will rise head and shoulders above everyone else that does what you do or who looks like they do what you do.
David, you are so right. Radically helpful, radically generous. I love the way you put those words together, and we usually don't hear that juxtaposed with each other. And I think,
Yes.
hey, that is brilliant. And by the way, David, you do that in your life. I've known you. You and I have known each other through the National Speakers Association, and you live that. And that really helps, I think, just as a human being, but
Yeah.
also when they taught us in business school, it was good to be kind to people, because
Yes.
business goes better when you do that. And
It's
one of
true.
the ways we do that also that I love you mentioned in your book, I was actually, again, a little bit surprised that it's here. But then once I read the first few paragraphs, I realized, of course, this makes all the sense in the world. Something that, well, here, let me share this with you again. This is here in the book here, you say how to think about working together and helping others. So what you're talking about is being radically generous and helping other people find alliances and collaboration, where you say
Yes.
here, no brand succeeds alone. The right
Yeah.
partnerships can open doors to new audiences, strengthen your credibility, and create opportunities that would be impossible on your own.
Yeah.
Smart collaborations accelerate growth by leveraging each partner's unique strengths. I think that is so important that we look at it and we see what's available, how we can do that, and the capabilities of it. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So, I think most entrepreneurs, most CEOs, most founders have some level of superhero syndrome, meaning that they feel that they are the ones that need to make everything happen in their business, right? Whether it's lead generation, getting media, hiring talent, we have to figure this out on our own. We are in a vacuum. We are the smartest ones. We can't rely on others. We should not be dependent. We shouldn't be hiding behind partnerships or affiliations and so forth. So there's this sort of what I call unproductive independent spirit. Whereas if you look at the truly successful companies, the mega successful companies, they have alliances, they have partnerships, they have channels, they have whether it is a franchise model, a dealer model, a distribution model, they have partnerships that help them to extend and multiply their reach into all the other places that they want to go. So think about, rather than thinking, I'm a solo, I need to figure out everything on my own. Figure out who else is in your ecosystem that you could partner with, that you could create content together to share with your respective communities and audiences. There are all kinds of partnerships that can be created. There are content partnerships, there are marketing partnerships, there are product and service development partnerships where it's like, hey, let's take service A from your portfolio, let's take service C from our portfolio, let's put those together, and then we'll jointly market that as a 1 + 1 = 10 type of offer, because that one company has a certain skill set and a certain specialization. We have a certain skill set and a certain specialization. And this is like the old Reese's peanut butter cup commercial. Oh, your chocolate got into my peanut butter, and oh, your peanut butter got into my chocolate. And those two great tastes taste great together. Yes, I know all the candy commercials from the 1970s and 80s. Sorry, my friends. But that level of collaboration and innovation and partnering mindset, and a lot of people go into these partnerships, just last quick thought on this, with what can I get out of it? And that is a secondary concern. The primary concern, and what will make you a good partner and what will make you a company or a CEO that others want to partner with, is how can I add value to my partner? How can I add value to their clients? How can I add value to their network? How can I give? How can I add value? How can I connect more to make them look like the hero of the story? That kind of partner will never be short of partnership offers and partnership deals that come down the highway.
The book is called Market Eminence. It is a fabulous book. And I got to say something to you, those of you watching this and listening to this, I have read many books that helped me and seen them through the years. This one is right up there at the top. One of the best I have ever seen. And I've read a lot. Also, I got to tell you, just reader to reader, the way that David structured it It's written so that you can read it very quickly. You could probably go through this an hour to 2 hours easily, which means you're more likely to consume it. This is one that you want to read. If you are a solopreneur, if you're in a small business, you want to read this. But I would even say if you're in a larger corporation, this is one that's good for you as a person as well as for your company. A book that you want to get, you want to start looking into and see even more. David, before we let you get away, I want to share something with the folks and with you that you put, I think, in closing really good. It was on page 189 here in your book, where you talked about, as you've seen, this book isn't just about personal branding. It's about market domination.
Yeah.
And really, that's what you're doing here with these key words: visibility, credibility, power, status, and respect. David, before we let you get away, tell us about how those words blend into becoming strong in market dominance and any other type of idea and things that you've seen are working particularly well. What would you see are those?
Sure. So I think some folks reading the book and some folks watching us now might bristle or have just a negative reaction to this word dominance, because the way that that word has been used, it's dominating others, bullying, forcing your way through, not caring about others' success. This sort of turns that 180 degrees on its head.
Yes.
So yes, you will be dominant in your market because you will be the most caring, the most curious, the most concerned, the most committed to the betterment of your industry, the betterment of your clients, the betterment of your partners, the betterment of the future, not only of your company, but perhaps of your industry and maybe of business in general, so that you become the good guy. Literally, you become the good guy and the good gal in your business landscape that is trusted, is admired, and is mentioned as the exemplar in your industry, because that's really what market eminence means. Market eminence, I mean, the word eminence specifically means fame or recognized superiority. Notice the word recognized superiority, especially in a sphere or profession. That is what that level of attainment will get you, even if you implement, let's say you implement a quarter of what's in the book. Let's say you implement a third of what's in the book. The bar is so low because all your competitors are playing it safe, and none of them are doing any of these things because they're so committed to blending in. And if you're willing to just take a couple of initial baby steps, test the waters, see what Terry and I are talking about, I think you will start to see some amazing results coming back from the marketplace.
Absolutely. David, you have put forth a book that is really game-changing, helping many of us. I know for me, it really has, and I greatly appreciate what you have done, my friend. We're putting that out there together. And for those of you that are watching this, think about what we've got here. This is a book that I highly recommend you get into because it's, again, very easy to read. I have read the book not once, but twice already, and plan to go back, do it many more times because, first of all, again, it's real easy, succinct bites, very easy to use, and it can definitely change the way that you look at it. Be careful because you might be like me, where I initially hear a term, I think, oh, I don't know about that. Well, when you read about it, you go, oh, okay, it enlightened me. Let me see it from a different point of view that I really like, and I'm glad that I did. So, David, before you leave, how can someone get in touch with you if they say, hey, I want to get to know this guy, David, a little bit more? How can they reach you?
Sure. So two things. The first thing is if they want to get more into the market eminence methodology, training, and tools, there's all sorts of freebies, free bonuses, training, worksheets, some AI prompts that will help you implement some of the ideas in the book. That's at marketeminence.com. And then the rest of my empire is at doitmarketing.com. And that's where you can get in touch. That's where there's a blog, there's a podcast, there's all kinds of other free resources. But the primary place to go to get these ideas that Terry and I are talking about is marketeminence.com.
Very good. Well, David, thank you for being here. And thank you, dear viewer, dear listener, as you're reading this and watching it and seeing what's available. This is something you want to look into. See what is available and how you can really have eminence in your marketplace. This is critical for you to help others in many different ways. This is what Gina and I do at Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, helping people like that. And starkravingentrepreneurs.com would be where we can get in touch with you, where you can reach us and find out information as well. I'm Terry Brock, and for David Newman and the rest of the staff here at Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, thank you for joining us. And think about ways that you can take these principles in that book. Go ahead and get the book. It's really worth it. A few coins you'll be glad that you spent on that, investing in yourself and in your future. Thank you for joining us today. We're looking forward to hearing from you.